Remember when Jurassic Park warned us not to mess with nature? Well, scientists didn't listen and brought back dire wolves. Sort of. But here's the twist. The CIA is funding it. What could possibly go wrong? And is this a seemingly normal investment? Or something darker? There's a Texas-based biotech startup called Colossal Biosciences, and they're promising to bring back extinct animals. They're working on woolly mammoths and have recently made a step forward with woolly mice. They also want to bring back dodo birds and thylacines. But the most recent project is from April 2025, dire wolves, which is being branded like Game of Thrones mascots, with Remus, Romulus, and Khaleesi. This viral video is described by Colossal as the first dire wolf howl in over 10,000 years. The twin brothers are now 6 months old, while Khaleesi is 3 months old. And just to give you an idea of how surreal this moment is, this species goes way back to the Ice Age, where woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats also roamed the earth. An accomplishment this big naturally took social media by storm, with both joy and alarm. Me, as soon as I can adopt a direwolf.
Come here!
Now do dragons. Can I pet that dog? On the other hand, the official Jurassic World account reacted with a dark joke. We see no possible way this could go wrong, and several people agreed. AI robots, self-driving cars, reviving extinct animals. It's like scientists have never been to the movies. The concern echoed a Jurassic Park scene where Dr. Ian Malcolm says,
"Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should."
But a claim to de-extinct would be an insane thing, right? People were quick to call them out. A sensationalist BS and disgusting genetical manipulation made by some biolab. So, what did they actually make? In Colossal's making of video, they retrieved DNA from real dire wolf fossils and analyzed what made dire wolves different from grey wolves. Then, using the gene editing tool CRISPR, they edited the grey wolf DNA to include those traits. After editing, they cloned the cells and grew them into embryos, which were placed in a dog to carry and give birth. So, the final animal is a genetically modified grey wolf with dire wolf-like traits, not a 100% real dire wolf. Actual dire wolves are also not closely related to wolves. They last shared a common ancestor about 5.7 million years ago. There is a closer ancestor.
Dire wolves are actually closer to being related to African jackal.
And this is what they look like. Now, what is the point in genetically modifying animals? Colossal says, its goal is to help rebalance ecosystems and save endangered species. It's unclear what the purpose de-extincting a species from a whole other era would serve in today's ecosystem. And will there be more dire wolves? Will they be released in the wild? Evolutionary biologist Vincent Lynch also added, whatever ecological function the dire wolf performed before it went extinct, it can't perform today. And ethically, this probably didn't happen without casualties.
For them to make 3 fully healthy GMO wolves, how many wolf puppies had to die to do it? The number can't be 0.
Also, since dire wolves were present in the Ice Age with many other species, it's unclear how they would survive or benefit from this current ecosystem. And that's where this conspiracy emerged. Dire wolves might branch into darker projects, but who would allegedly be funding something this insane?
And one of the investors that is really excited about just pouring money into the Colossal Bioscience is the CIA.
Well, not the CIA directly, but In-Q-Tel, the CIA's investment arm. And yes, it's real, public, and has a portfolio of all its projects, including surveillance tech to biotech. Here are just some of the cooler but potentially dangerous investments. Univercells, which produces vaccines and other biologics. Amazing, as long as they don't accidentally spread the viruses they are potentially studying. Recorded Future, which scours the web, including dark web forums and social media, and uses AI to predict future events or cyber threats. Sounds helpful, until you realize it could mean they are tracking your posts to calculate what you might do next. Inventure, which built 3D bioprinting systems to create human organ tissue in the lab. But in the wrong hands, what's stopping them from printing an entire human? And here's their colossal one. Let's get the obvious question out of the way. Isn't this a conflict of interest? CIA created In-Q-Tel, and it's a private non-profit, so it's not technically the CIA, but it gets CIA money and funds from other agencies. So it might be a legal loophole for CIA to fund startups. So, let's connect the dots. CIA plus gene editing equals what? When scrolling through results about gene editing concerns, a common issue was animal welfare. Due to potential birth defects these animals could have. But another major concern that kept popping up was neuroweapons, military purposes, unprecedented dangers. This report from Carnegie Endowment for International Peace warned of the risks. Gene editing and gene synthesis technologies are inherently dual use, meaning they can be employed for good or ill. From prehistory to the present, humans have invented tools from hand axes to drones that can cause grave damage in the wrong hands. What sets gene editing and synthetic biology apart are their theoretical potential to cause suffering and death on a massive scale, including by making viruses more transmissible and lethal, and by creating entirely new organisms that can be tailored to target specific groups of people, as well as, conceivably, agricultural commodities, natural ecosystems, and critical species. And IQT has publicly said their investment is less about the mammoths and more about the capability. They brought up things like curing human diseases and enhancing crops to tolerate severe climatic changes as some examples. However, that's not what people are worrying about. While not explicitly stated, IQT's investments often look at tech that could help national security. This could mean anything from cybersecurity to military tech. So, dual-use risk, military interest, and gene-edited animals? This might suggest a new domain of weaponry or intelligence use. Colossal's work might seem innocent, but who benefits from controlling powerful animals? Well, this isn't a new concept. The military has actually worked with animals before. Someone brought up the Navy's use of dolphins to hunt underwater mines and identify threats, and this was a real project. Because dolphins' natural sonar capabilities allow them to detect objects with precision, even in environments where man-made sonar systems struggle. They were deployed during wars to detect underwater threats. So, could IQT be secretly creating a super animal for the CIA? Several people think so. Gene editing can cure disease, or quietly weaponize a population. The question isn't why the CIA is interested, it's why anyone thought they wouldn't be. But some wondered if this could be used for more nefarious purposes, like superhuman weapons. Which brings up the scarier question. If the wolves are what they are showing with the hand in front of you, what is being created with the hidden hand? And since the CIA doesn't have a good reputation, think of their human spies and shady projects like MK Ultra, this only makes this conspiracy wilder. It also didn't help that Colossal kept the wolves' location undisclosed and secure, which some took as proof something sinister was brewing. This also delves into uncharted territories.
Now that we brought back the dire wolves, my question is, should we bring back the ancient humans?
A fascinating idea. But G-Dub made an interesting point. Things could go wrong easily.
Their brains are too cooked. They're not going to know how to work in our civilization. They might mess around, see a random human and try to eat them or fight them for no logical reason, because that's just how they are. But if we put them in cages, wouldn't that be inhumane? Because yes, they are humans, but they're really not human. They call it the Homo erectus.
Another TikToker, King Ming, also raised concern about the ability to bring back dangerous animals.
What's the one animal that they should never bring back? This one's called the terror bird. The name alone says it all. A flightless murder chicken.
Some were skeptical about the potential foreshadowing of the wolves' names.
None of them have seen Game of Thrones. None of them. Nobody was at a board meeting hey, I hear you on naming a direwolf puppy Khaleesi.
In Game of Thrones lore, Khaleesi was once a beloved heroine until she snapped and became a mass murderer. This also brings up an infamous case from 2018 involving biophysicist Dr. He Jiankui. He successfully cloned human embryos and edited their genes using CRISPR to make them resistant to HIV. While he used gene editing for the good of humanity, there are currently no strict regulations for this new technology. So things could backfire if put in the wrong hands. He even made this unusual statement: making super soldiers by gene editing should be permanently banned. Does he know something we don't? Now, even though a lot of past experiences point to the CIA as untrustworthy, and many papers are warning of the dangers of gene editing, let's still give a chance to the other side of the debate. Colossal might have a genuine concern for the ecosystem and its animals. Remember, one of their goals is to save endangered species? Well, they were successful in birthing 4 cloned red wolves to help combat the species' endangerment. So, it's possible this dire wolf marketing may have been a way to attract more investors. TikToker Zeke Darwin, a science enthusiast who's been following Colossal for many years, explained how he believes they are actually helping the animals.
I used to think this whole thing was just a huge waste of time, but as I learned more about Colossal, I realized that these moonshots lead us on a journey, and that journey leads us to technology and ways to help animals that otherwise we aren't going to have.
Further explaining that one of these innovative technologies is a less invasive form of cloning.
All they need is a blood draw, and they can actually get the cells they need from the blood. But you can't really do that with the old method of cloning because you have to take tissue that's invasive, it's stressful. You can't really just do that with endangered animals. You're not going to be taking them back to a lab.
And if you don't believe dire wolves were created to draw in investors, well, maybe you might believe it's just a passion project from rich people. You see, one other notable investor for Colossal is the Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin, who is also an advisor to Colossal. Maybe he was trying to bring Ghost to life? Another possible scenario, if we give the CIA the benefit of the doubt, is they could be supporting projects like these to have backup options in case America is threatened. So in summary, the dire wolf saga has evolved into a broader discussion of not just, can we do this? But should we? And why? And who benefits? How do you feel about Colossal Biosciences? Is this an inspiring breakthrough? Or a looming danger?